Hello, friends. As you understand, I've taken a slightly larger gap between videos. It's been a little over a year since I started the channel, and I've tried a lot of different things throughout that time. And while I took most of December just to enjoy the holiday, I think I want to start 2025 with something completely new. Rather than focusing in on just one country or one state, I'd like to branch out a little bit. And along with this, I see a good opportunity to toy with how my videos look and how I present myself in them. So for today's topic and video, I'm going to use a different setting, and we're going to touch on a far more grim topic. Welcome to 10 terrifying bodies of water. It does not necessarily mean it's the top 10 in my eyes, and there will be no particular order for this. But each one has something that I found to be rather fascinating, and of course, chilling. Whether it's because a large amount of people lost their lives at this location, or because of how the body of water came to exist in the first place, or if it's simply because of danger or a strange nature around it. Every one of these felt appropriate to include in the list. So come along with me as we explore these dangerous, mysterious, or otherwise eerie bodies of water. We're going to begin this list in the United Kingdom, a place that I recently covered, but we will not be looking at London this time. In Yorkshire of northern England sits something known as the River Wharfe, one that originates in the Yorkshire Dales National Park. Despite its welcoming views and deceivingly calm setting, this body of water holds an area that no human has fallen or gone in and has survived. This part is known as the Strid, or more commonly seen as the Bolton Strid, which to the naked eye may appear to be no different than a narrow stream. However, the danger here lies in the fact that the water changes orientation entirely, flowing vertically in the tight shaft rather than horizontally. Thus, voids beneath are created from a deep, powerful current where anything, including people, can get stuck. No certain numbers have been given to tell how many lives the Bolton Strid has taken, but this has been occurring for centuries, and not a single person who has fallen or gone in has come out alive. Even today, despite all the signage along the otherwise harmless trails, people still like to take risks, including children, jumping across to impress their friends. Next, we'll be taking a leap down into Africa in Cameroon. Found in the northwestern region of Cameroon, about 300 kilometers from the nation's capital of Yaoundé, sits Lake Nyos. Lake Nyos sits high up in the now inactive Oku volcano, which keeps the water at bay. However, there is a large pocket of magma beneath the lake which emits a lot of carbon dioxide, making it prone to limnic eruptions. In 1986, something known as the Lake Nyos disaster took about 1,700 lives as a cloud of magmatic carbon dioxide rose from the lake's bed. Almost every village located around this populated area were asphyxiated by the gas, as well as over 3,000 livestock and all sorts of birds and other native species. It gave this lake this unusually dark brown color, and dead bodies and flattened lands showed that it was very quick, with little to no signs of struggle or trauma before death. Only two other lakes in the world would allow for such a phenomena to occur, those being Lake Manaun, also in Cameroon, and Lake Kivu, found in Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now we're going to head into the United States and take a look at something very similar found in California. Horseshoe Lake sits near what is known as Mammoth Mountain, sitting atop one of the most active volcanic systems in the US, and it is not too far from Yosemite National Park. While it may look like the perfect place to take a dip, its CO2 content makes it very dangerous, as one can catch a glimpse of all the circles of dead trees surrounding it, being a bit of a nature graveyard. Due to earthquakes in 1989, carbon dioxide was forced into Horseshoe Lake from the magma channels, dispersing through the soil and killing all the trees. It is also toxic to humans and animals alike. Moreover, it is also known for unpredictable currents, extreme temperatures, and strange wildlife. This won't stop people from trekking the land, but just be warned, these gases are very dense and can sink below snow, hide in the volcanic outlets, and in 2006, 3 ski members died of CO2 poisoning after falling into a hidden vent. Staying in the United States, we will continue into central Texas, beholding what is known as Jacob's Well. Like the Bolton Strid, this beautiful site may seem harmless on the surface, and for your average swimmer, perhaps it is. It's a magnificent spring that fills the second largest underground cave in the state. Settlers stumbled upon the only 12-foot diameter cave as late as 1850, named after the biblical significance, but looking just a little deeper, this is anything but holy. Allegedly for scuba divers, this is one of the most dangerous spots to traverse, with over a dozen divers having been reported killed here. Its passageways get increasingly narrow the deeper you go, to the point that to continue down, divers must remove their oxygen tank, and several divers have gotten stuck underneath despite a few making it out alive. It's also surrounded by rock, and while this part is due to the stupidity of people around it, folks have been found to enjoy diving headfirst into it. Operating hours have existed, and you can make reservations ahead of time, but for now, Jacob's Well remains closed until further notice. Similar to that, we're going to head south to Belize in what is known as the Great Blue Hole. Now this one actually lies off the coast, being a massive marine sinkhole in the center of what is known as the Lighthouse Reef, a small atoll around 70 kilometers from the mainland. Being 318 meters across, this is said to be visible from space, and like other sites we've looked at, is quite a spectacle to see. In fact, it draws all sorts of tourists and divers as well. Once you go under, however, you'll find some very large stalactites, those massive conical shapes that we see coming down from land caves, and it isn't uncommon to encounter sharks. The sheer depths go down to over 400 feet, far beyond the human diver limitations, and it gets incredibly dark as you make your way down. If that's not terrifying enough, divers might experience nitrogen narcosis, as the increased nitrogen pressure in the bloodstream causes disorientation, euphoria, delayed reaction times, and things that may cause a diver to traverse deeper than one even realizes. In other words, it's like being drunk underwater, and by the time you realize what's going on, it'll be far too late. Now let's move to the Ural mountain range in central Russia and look at what was once a lake, but is no more. In 1951, Lake Karachay would become a dumping site for radioactive waste by the Soviet Union due to its close proximity to Mayak, a nuclear waste processing facility near the town of Chelyabinsk, now called Izyorsk. Now as of 2016, it has been completely infilled by concrete blocks, rock, and dirt, but by 1990, it was considered the most polluted place on the planet, where only 1 hour in the presence of the radiation would kill you. Its name in several Turkic languages actually translates to Blackwater, a fitting name considering the way the lake looked when it was still around. The project was kept secret, as it was the first reactor to make plutonium, used for the Soviet atomic bomb project, which Joseph Stalin took very seriously in response to the US bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. As you can see, even my videos around water are not safe from World War II related history being mentioned. And while this lake may not actually exist now, its vast open plains can still send a chill up the spine. Going all the way to the Caribbean, we'll find what is known as the Boiling Lakes in Morne-Traut-Pitance National Park in Dominica. Sitting only 10 kilometers from the nation's capital, Roseau, this is an occurrence known as a fumarole, being a vent in the planet's surface that emits volcanic gases without liquids or solids. Think of something like what's in Yellowstone National Park. Boiling Lake is simply one of these that is flooded, being 200 feet wide, surrounded by vapor and covered in bubbling water heated from below. You can take a hike through this, but be warned, the rocks surrounding this are very slippery, and as you can imagine, hot. In 1900, 2 hikers died from an unpredicted release of volcanic gases, asphyxiating them as they fell to their deaths. In 2007, the first person to ever cross the lake was George Karounis, suspended by ropes over the most violent section and lived to tell and record it. But this isn't even the largest boiling lake in the world. Similar to what we just saw, what's known as Frying Pan Lake can be found in New Zealand, which is the world's largest hot spring. In 1866, earthquakes rocked what is known as Rotorua area on the North Island, causing Mount Tarawera to explode, being the nation's largest volcano eruption. It killed over 100 people and destroyed several villages. This new Rift Valley would give way over the decades to Frying Pan Lake, and while hot springs are generally something people find enjoyable, it should be noted to proceed with caution. For decades, it was completely void of vegetation and wildlife, said to create mud and volcanic ash layers up to 20 meters thick. It fills 38,000 square meters of space, and its name comes from a word that means black waters. Today, all sorts of fauna has long returned, and it is a rather popular tourist destination. Returning to Africa, we'll be heading into Tanzania, right on the border with Kenya, to take a look at Lake Natron. This is a very mineral-rich lake, known as the Soda Lake, and the alkaline contents give it a stark red look, found near the Old Doino Langai, an active volcano in the Rift Valley. There's a legend around Lake Natron, as there are photos of animals that appear to have been turned to stone instantly. Because of the sodium carbonate that flows in from the surrounding hills, the alkaline waters give it a pH of up to 10.5, which can burn the skin and eyes of animals not adapted to these conditions. For reference, this was used for Egyptian mummification, so any animal that finds itself unfortunate enough to fall in will be well preserved. Now, there are actually thriving ecosystems that have adapted to this, including millions of lesser flamingos, but unfortunately, it's being threatened due to a proposed hydroelectric power plant along the Iwaso-Nyairo River, which feeds the lake, and currently, no protections exist. We're going to close this off with the Iberian Peninsula in Europe, as we take a look at what is known as the Rio Tinto, a very toxic river in Spain. Rising in Andalusia in the Sierra Morena mountain range, it runs in a red and orange color for roughly 50 kilometers of its length due to its acidic makeup and high amounts of iron and other heavy metals. This is thanks to the pollution from the Rio Tinto copper mines located in the town of the same name, now called Nerva. The name means stained river, and this mining activity can actually date all the way back to Roman times, tracing itself all the way to a Swedish leaser in 1725, a British syndicate in 1872, and eventually the Spanish themselves in 1954. This, of course, is considered very unsafe to swim in and has posed many environmental concerns as well. Thank you for taking the time to look through these dangerous, polluted, or otherwise terrifying bodies of water. What did you think? Did I miss any significant spots that you think could have made it into this video? Should I make a part 2 of this video? Do you have any extra information on these sites? And how did you feel about this format as a whole? Let me know in the comments, and I would also appreciate a like, subscribe, or share. Until next time.